Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I never thought my marriage would come to this. A place where silence felt heavier than words, where every laugh from my wife sent a shiver down my spine instead of warmth. I wasn't the kind of man who went looking for problems, but I had learned that problems have a way of finding you, whether you're ready for them or not. It started small. Little things. The way my wife, Rachel, would smirk at her phone, eyes lighting up in a way I hadn't seen in years. The way she'd glance at me afterward, as if measuring something, before going back to texting. Fingers moving fast, too fast. I told myself it was nothing. We'd been together for 7 years, married for 4. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our shared memories. I wasn't paranoid. Relationships evolve, right? But then there were the other signs, the ones that were harder to ignore. Rachel had always been affectionate, but lately, her kisses felt more like obligations. Her hugs were brief, polite. When we lay in bed at night, she'd turn away, glued to her phone, chuckling at something she never bothered to share. And then there were the nights she'd come home late, saying she'd been out with the girls. That was new. Rachel wasn't the girls' night-out type. She had friends, sure, but she never cared much for clubbing or bar hopping. Yet now, suddenly, every week there was a new dinner, a new outing, a new reason to get dressed up like she was heading to some secret runway show. Still, I try not to think too much of it. I convinced myself I was overanalyzing things, that work stress was making me insecure. But there was one moment, one small, insignificant moment, that changed everything. It happened on a Saturday. We were at home, Rachel curled up on the couch, scrolling through her phone while I sat at the dining table, going through some emails. The house was quiet except for the occasional ding of her notifications. Then she laughed. Not just any laugh. It was loud, genuine, the kind of laugh she used to give me when I said something funny. The kind of laugh I hadn't heard in a long time. "What's so funny?" I asked, keeping my tone light. She glanced at me for half a second, then shrugged. "Just something dumb in the group chat." I nodded, pretending not to care. But something made me glance at her phone, at the way she turned it away from me just slightly, her fingers hovering over the screen like she was debating whether to lock it or keep scrolling. Then I caught it. A single text preview. Just one line. But it was enough. "Oh my God, Rachel, you have no idea. It's like, disappointing. No wonder I have to entertain myself." I froze. Rachel didn't notice. She was too busy typing a response, giggling as she did. Something inside me twisted, a slow, crawling realization settling in my stomach. The words in that message weren't directed at anyone else. They were about me. I didn't say a word. I just sat there, listening to the sound of my own heartbeat, to the rustling of Rachel's thumbs against the glass screen. I told myself it was a misunderstanding, that I had read it wrong, that it was about something else entirely. But I already knew the truth. And that truth? It was about to rip my marriage apart. That message haunted me. It wasn't even the words themselves. It was the way she laughed when she typed, the way she turned her screen away from me, the way it all felt so casual, so effortless. Like my humiliation was just another joke in her group chat. I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I played my role. I acted normal. I smiled, nodded at the right moments, even chuckled when she showed me some random TikTok later in the evening. But inside, my mind was spinning. I needed proof. The next morning, Rachel was in the shower, humming to herself, probably reliving whatever stupid conversation she had with her friends. That's when I saw it. Her phone, face down on the nightstand. I hesitated. I had never gone through her phone before. It felt like a violation, a line I didn't want to cross. But then I remembered that text. No wonder I have to entertain myself. Whatever line I thought existed. She had already crossed it. I picked up the phone, took a breath, and swiped up. No passcode. Rachel never locked her phone, never needed to. I always trusted her. Turns out, she counted on that trust. I went straight to her messages. The group chat was easy to find, her closest friends. The same ones who smiled at me at dinner parties, the ones who always seemed a little too amused when I spoke. I started scrolling. The deeper I went, the worse it got. I swear, sometimes I feel like I'm dating a high school boy. It's just not satisfying. No way, Ratch. That bad. I thought you were joking. Girl, size does matter. You must have the patience of a saint. And then Rachel's reply. LMAO. You have no idea. I fake it 90% of the time. The other 10%, I just tell him I'm tired. I felt my stomach turn. I kept reading, even though every word made me sick. They had inside jokes about me. They called me Mr. Bare Minimum. They said they admired Rachel for making it work despite the limitations. One message stood out, sent just 2 nights ago. If it weren't for my toys, I'd go insane. I put the phone down. My hands were shaking. Rachel walked out of the bathroom a few minutes later, towel wrapped around her body, smiling at me like nothing had changed. "Hey, babe," she said, running a hand through her damp hair. "What do you want for breakfast?" I looked at her, really looked at her, and all I could think was, I don't know who you are anymore. But I didn't say a word. I just smiled, because I already knew. I wasn't going to fight. I wasn't going to scream. I was going to let her bury herself. And when she did, I'd be long gone. I should have felt anger. I should have felt the need to confront her, to yell, to demand answers. But I felt nothing. Just a cold, detached clarity. The moment I put her phone down, something inside me shifted. The man who spent years loving her, trusting her, making excuses for her, he was gone. I wasn't going to fight for this marriage. I was going to disappear from it. Rachel didn't notice the change in me. Not at first. She went about her days the same way, scrolling her phone, laughing at messages I now knew were at my expense, making half-hearted excuses when she brushed me off at night. But I had already started making my moves. I withdrew half of our savings and transferred it into a private account. She never checked the finances. I had always been the one managing the bills, the rent, the expenses. She wouldn't notice. I called my lawyer, started drafting the paperwork. I even found a new apartment across town, 1 bedroom, nothing fancy. Just enough space for me to start over. Every night, as Rachel sat next to me on the couch, glued to her phone, giggling at messages I didn't need to read anymore, I felt nothing but satisfaction. She had no idea I was already gone. The first time she sensed something was off was about a week later. We were in bed, the usual routine, me reading a book, her scrolling her phone. She set it down, stretched, and slid closer, resting a hand on my chest. "You've been quiet lately," she murmured. I didn't flinch. I just turned the page. "Busy with work." She sighed dramatically. "You don't talk to me anymore." The irony almost made me laugh. I looked at her, feigning mild curiosity. "What do you want to talk about?" She hesitated. For the first time in weeks, I saw a flicker of doubt in her eyes. I stared at her, waiting. She shrugged. "I don't know, just stuff. Us." There it was. A tiny crack in her confidence. But I wasn't going to make this easy for her. So I nodded, pretending to think. "We can talk tomorrow. I'm tired." And then I turned over, facing away from her. I heard her exhale, a mix of frustration and confusion. But she didn't push. Because in her mind, she still had control. She still thought I was hers. The next day, I took another step forward. I moved my things out, bit by bit. A few shirts, my laptop, a box of personal items. Nothing noticeable. Nothing that would set off alarms. Rachel barely paid attention. One night, she was sitting on the couch, half watching some Netflix series while texting on her phone. "Hey," she called out. "Have you seen my black hoodie?" "Which one?" "The soft one. I swear it was in the closet." I shrugged. "No idea." She huffed, rolling her eyes, and went back to her phone. What she didn't know was that the hoodie was already packed, sitting in the closet of my new apartment. A few days later, I tested the waters again. Rachel was making plans for another girls' night. She stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her dress, fixing her hair. "Don't wait up," she said casually. I smiled. "I won't." She smirked. "You sure you'll survive without me?" I nodded. "I think I'll manage." If she caught the coldness in my voice, she ignored it. She kissed my cheek, grabbed her bag, and left. The second the door clicked shut, I stood up, grabbed my bag, and walked out too. But I wasn't coming back. I didn't look back. As I walked out of the apartment for the last time, I felt nothing but a deep, quiet satisfaction. There was no hesitation, no second-guessing. I had already mourned this marriage in silence. Now, I was simply closing the door on it. I left the divorce papers on the kitchen counter. No dramatic confrontation. No angry outburst. Just cold, legal finality. By the time Rachel realized what had happened, I was long gone. Her first mistake? Thinking I was still playing along. The text started that night. "Hey, where are you?" Then another. "Babe? You home?" Then a call. I let it ring. By the time I checked into my new apartment, Rachel was in full panic mode. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed again. This time, it was different. What the hell is this? Attached was a picture of the divorce papers. I smiled, took my time before replying. Then, finally, I sent one word. Exactly what it looks like. She called instantly. I didn't pick up. Let her feel it. The weight of everything she never saw coming. The next morning, my lawyer called. She already tried calling my office, he chuckled. She's freaking out. Good. She thought she held all the power in our marriage. She thought I'd never leave. She thought I was too weak to walk away. Now she was realizing just how wrong she had been. The texts kept coming. At first, she was angry. You're being so immature. We need to talk about this. Are you seriously leaving me over some stupid jokes? I ignored her. Then, the panic set in. Wait. Please. We can fix this. I didn't mean any of it. You know I love you, right? Funny how quickly love became real to her when she realized she had something to lose. I still didn't reply. Days passed. Then a week. Rachel showed up at my new place. I saw her through the peephole, standing outside in the cold, arms wrapped around herself. She knocked, called my name. I let her knock. I let her feel it. After a while, she stopped. I heard her breath hitch, like she was crying. Then she walked away. I didn't feel sorry for her. This wasn't heartbreak. This wasn't regret. This was consequences. Days turned into weeks. Rachel went through every stage of desperation. First came the denial. She texted me constantly, called, left voicemails, all of them filled with the same delusion that this was just a fight, a misunderstanding, that I was overreacting. We can fix this. Just come home. I didn't mean any of it, babe. It was just stupid girl talk. You're my husband. This isn't how we do things. I never replied. Then came the anger. You're a coward. Oh, so you're just gonna run away like a little boy? Figures. No wonder I had to entertain myself. There it was. The truth behind all her fake apologies. She wasn't sorry she hurt me. She was sorry she got caught. I still said nothing. And that silence? It drove her insane. Her friends started reaching out. One of them, Jessica, the loudest in that cruel group chat, sent me a message. Hey, I know Rachel hurt you, but ghosting her like this? That's low. At least talk to her. I laughed. The same people who had laughed at my expense were now begging me to come back. I blocked her number. Then came the breakdown. Rachel showed up at my new place again. This time, she wasn't angry. She was sobbing. I watched from the window as she stood there, makeup smudged, hair a mess, gripping her phone like it was a lifeline. She knocked. Then again. Then again. I didn't open the door. I just let her fall apart. Please, she whispered through the door. I don't know what to do. I miss you. I can't. I didn't think. She cut herself off with a sob. I just stood there, listening, drinking it in. Because in that moment, she wasn't the smug, mocking woman from those texts. She was pathetic. A shell of the person who once thought she could treat me like a joke and never face the consequences. A few months later, the divorce was finalized. Rachel lost everything. She had to move out of our old apartment. She couldn't afford it without me. Some of her so-called friends cut her off. Turns out, cruelty isn't so funny when it comes back around. Dating? A disaster. The guys she met weren't patient, like me. They didn't care about her feelings. They didn't stick around. They used her, just like she used me. And me? I thrived. New home. New job. New life. A life without her. One day, months later, she sent a final, desperate text. I'm so sorry. I was stupid. I didn't mean it. Please, just come home. I stared at the message. I let it sit there. And then, I deleted it. No reply. No closure. Just silence. Because that was my final victory.
Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.